All right, we are looking at page 288, lesson 4.3 functions. If you are not on page 288, please pause the video and get to that page. Okay, so let's take a look at what a function is. This right here represents a function. So the way you read this part right here is the function of x, or f of x. This is called your output. This is your output, this side. Okay, this over here is your input. This is where you plug in any sort of number for x and solve this side. So this is your input. Whatever number you are given for x, you're going to plug in here and solve. So we're going to write that in so we don't forget. Plug in numbers for x and solve. So basically you're inputting numbers for x, you're plugging in numbers for x, then you're solving this side, and your y, or your answer, is called your output. You input numbers here and you get an output of answers over here. Okay, so let's take a look at the first function, number 1. So take a look at number 1, and over here on this left-hand side, let's write this. So the function of -3, and it says if f of x equals 2x plus 1. So write that down. Let's write this problem and plug these numbers in. So this is saying what is the function of -3 if you have a function of 2x plus 1. So they're telling you to plug in -3 to the input side. You're going to plug in -3 here, and then you're going to solve this side to get your output, your answer, basically. So you're going to write 2 times -3. You're going to input -3. So on this side, we have to multiply first. So we get -6 plus 1, and then solve that, and you get -5. So your function of x equals -5. This is your answer. So when we input -3, we get an output, an answer of -5. Okay, let's try another one. Let's look at part A. You're going to do this first problem with me, part A. So this is saying, what is the function of 2 if the function of x equals x minus 4? So they're asking you to plug in 2. So we're going to plug it in here to the input side. We're going to input 2. So input 2, and then we're going to solve this side. So 2 take away 4. Because it's subtraction, I have to keep flip change and solve, and I get -2. So the function of 2 is -2. And let's try one more. So this is saying find the function of 11 if the function of x is a half x plus 5. So we're going to input 11 on the input side. It's kind of blurry. Okay, so now what we're going to do is solve this side. So we have a half times 11, because this is a half times whatever x is, we're inputting 11, plus 5. So we cannot reduce this at all. So if you multiply straight across and then reduce, you have 11 halves, which is the same as 5.5. So we have 5.5 plus 5, basically. So 5.5 plus 5 is 10. So our output is 10. All right, now let's take a look at these function tables down here. So this is called a function table on example number 2. So example number 2 says choose 4 values for x to make a function table for the function of x is x plus 5. Then state the domain and the range of the function. So when it says choose 4 values for x, you pick 4 values for x. So we picked -2, -1, 0, and 1. And when you get to choose numbers, they could be positive, negative, or 0. You can choose any 4 numbers you want. Keep in mind that you might have to graph these numbers, so I would pick lower numbers. So you're going to plug these in to the x, the input side. You're going to plug each one of these numbers into the input side, and then you're going to get your output. You're going to solve this part and get the output. So the domain, remember, are your x values. The range are your y values, what you get out of it once you plug these numbers in. And the middle part is the rule. The rule is the part that you're solving. So we're solving x plus 5. So we're going to plug in these numbers one at a time and get negative 2 plus 5, negative 1 plus 5, 0 plus 5, and 1 plus 5. And then here is what we get for our output. Remember, the output is the same as your range. So then what we're going to do is we're going to name, so state the domain and the range. The domain are your x values. So negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. These are the domain. The range are your y values. Remember, your y values are your output values, your answers. Once you plug these numbers in for x, your answers are your y values. So the range is 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, let's try one more. So we're at the very top of page 289. So you're going to do this rule with me. Okay, it says choose 4 values for x. Choose 4 values for x to complete the function table for the function f of x equals x minus 7. Then we're going to state the domain and the range. Okay, so we're going to choose 4 values for x. I'm going to choose 0, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to choose 0, 1, 2, and 3. So you write those in. This is our rule. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take each one of these numbers and I'm going to plug it into the input side. So I'm going to solve 0 minus 7. Then I'm going to plug in 1 minus 7, 2 minus 7, and 3 minus 7. I'm going to show here my work. I'm going to show plugging in my x numbers to my input. Now I'm going to solve each one of these, and this is my y, my output. So 0 take away 7 is negative 7. 1 take away 7 is negative 6. 2 take away 7 is negative 5. And 3 take away 7 is negative 4. Okay, now I'm going to state the domain and the range. So the domain are your x values, so 0, 1, 2, and 3. Your range are your y values, which is the same as your output. These are your x values, these are your y values. So negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, and negative 4. Okay, so we created a function table. We picked 4 values for x. We plugged them into the input side and solved to get the output, and these are the same as our range, our y. Okay, we will practice more tomorrow.